So joining me in this second segment, in addition to the NAT president, is Mr. Okwudili Egwu. You're welcome to the program.
My pleasure to be here.
Yes, this is your second time on the program. He's the Senior Vice President of the Cowry Assets Management Limited. They are experts in financial management and investment advisories. So I'm sure you listened or you heard what our guests had said at the beginning. We have these new universities of medical sciences. The ones the Senate has approved, the President is yet to give assent to them. And also the one in Ebonyi State, which we had private conversation, and being from Ebonyi State, the sustainability of that institution having been reportedly taken over by the federal government. So as a financial expert, what are your thoughts around this, and how can we make this institution sustainable?
Okay. The key word here is sustainability. In as much as it is desirable to have many of such institutions, the fact is, can federal government afford them? Can they afford to operate them optimally? The facts on ground, and one of the symptoms that we have seen from the incessant strikes from the resident doctors, from ASUP, is that government is having a challenge funding their obligation, supposedly obligation, and that model is no longer sustainable. Now, and if you look at, yes, you might desire to have many of these, but the fact is, what is the health of the Nigerian balance sheet, the federal government balance sheet? Is bleeding. As we speak, we are told that about 90% of our federal government revenue is used to service debt alone. So government is not even able to meet recurrent expenditures. So I doubt if government will be able to maintain these new institutions, will be able to provide the needed facilities and the right ambience to sustain the medical facilities to operate at optimal capacity.
So, but the NAT president feels it's not a problem of lack of resources, but application of resources. Do you agree with that?
One number, the fact is that there's lack of resources. There's lack of resources. Our revenue is dwindling. We are not even able to meet our revenue projections in the last 3 years. Now, the crude oil sales used to be a major point of our revenue. And now we projected, our budget is predicated on 2 million barrels per day. But currently we are producing at less than 1.3 million barrels per day. So we are not even able to benefit from the crude oil price hike that is trading well above the benchmark, budgeted benchmark price. As if things were going on well with Nigeria, our excess crude account should have swelled by now. But we are not seeing it.
So what's the way forward?
The way forward is to look for a model that is sustainable. And that model that is sustainable is to bring the private sector. Now, the private sector seeks to utilize efficient allocation of scarce resources. The resources are indeed scarce. They are not available. So the private sector will bring in a model that can optimize the scarce resources and make for efficient allocation of resources. Government has proven over the time that they cannot run anything efficiently. So we should look at a private-public partnership. Government can look at all that they are putting in place, the land, the physical structures, and all that, as their equity contributions. Why the private sector can bring the management know-how, the technical know-how, and the technology to ensure that these hospitals are better run. And we can, people might be worried about the high cost of providing services where private capital is involved, or where private partnership is involved. That can be ameliorated by ensuring that we have more universal health coverage.
Expand the health insurance coverage.
Expand the health insurance coverage so that all the health facilities now know that it is the health insurance fund that is funding for their services. So every health facility will now crave to provide services that will make enrollees choose them as their private healthcare providers, and then get service for whatever they have provided from the health insurance fund. But at the moment, we are not sure that the hospitals, the government-operated hospitals, are running as business.
Okay.